Director Basis, Ms. Bhanu Kumar, Director Commercial MSTC Limited, and Dr. Chiranjeev Bhattacharya, Co-Chairperson IT Committee and Chairperson IT Entrepreneurships and E-Commerce Committee of the Bengal Chamber and CEO Director Visatech Informatics Private Limited to join us on the dais. And with this, I would request Dr. Bhattacharya to please take the session forward. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Angana. A very good afternoon to all of you. Our sincere gratitude to two very senior industry leaders, Mr. Mostafizur Rahaman Sohel, Director of BITC, and Mrs. Bhanu Kumar, Director Commercial of MSTC. We are sincerely grateful to them for joining us today. Since we have very limited time anyways, I will quickly move on. So, I'll start with Sohel bhai. Sohel bhai, thank you so much. Can we start by a quick introduction on your rich experience in the ICT industry and then a brief introduction about BASIS to the audience, and then I'll come back to you with 3-4 quick questions.
Thank you, Dada. Thank you for inviting me. So, good afternoon to everyone. So, this is Mostafizur Rahaman Sohel, and me as an IT professional, it's almost 23 years I have already passed. So, I did my study in Singapore, higher studies in Singapore. Then, once I completed my higher studies, I went back to my country to do something, on my own. Then I started my own software companies. So, now we have around a few software companies who are doing software development in private sector, in government sector, and also for international market. And besides doing this, I am a director at BASIS, and also I am a director at CCBL, that is a Central Counterparty Bangladesh Limited, which is a central clearing partner of the capital market. So this is a project that has been coming up soon. So Bangladesh capital market will be operated on this CCP platform. So it is about me, and besides I am pretty much active in association that is called BASIS, that is the apex body of our software and information services in Bangladesh. It was established back in 1998, so with only 18 members. So now we have around 2,200 members. So BASIS, as an apex body of the software and asset industry in Bangladesh, do all sort of activities for business development, for local market, for international market. But the most important thing that BASIS does, that is to negotiate with government in terms of policy, in terms of doing all sort of ICT policy, be it ICT policy or digital commerce policy or anything. So we are closely working with government. So this is pretty much about BASIS and myself, Dada. Thank you.
Thank you, thank you. So you have been mentoring several people now, over decades possibly, at Bangladesh. What are the current challenges that you see, which today's youth is facing mostly?
Thank you. Thank you, Dada. So, see, this is one of my passionate areas, that working or mentoring with youth. So what I have seen that, at this moment, the plenty, or I would say most of the youths are quite confused about their, route of their career path. So where they should go. So that is pretty much common, I believe, in almost everywhere, because a lot of, undergrad students I have seen, they are doing major probably in one area, but they are not quite sure whether they will be sticking to that major, or they will be switching that one to another, flashy things like robotics, this, that. So that makes these youth pretty much confused. So that is why we from the industry, almost every month we go to universities, talk to the youths, so that they can have the right direction for their career path. Dada.
Thank you so much, bhai. You have been an integral part of the ICT revolution in Bangladesh. How is the industry evolving currently, as of now, with, from the perspective of AI adoption, digital transformation, from once upon a time offline IT estate to such an advanced stage. Can you kindly let us know about
thank
the
you.
evolution?
So, I'm pretty much, fortunate to have seen it all, as you have mentioned that, non-IT sort of thing to graduation of, IT infrastructure and this, that. So, today, in 2023, I must say that after our government has taken that initiative called Digital Bangladesh, so ICT has really boomed up in Bangladesh. So now today, being a country where we have fantastic infrastructure in terms of IT, so now our youths and a lot of companies are, shifting towards frontier technologies. I think around 50 to 60 members of bases who are actively working with frontier technologies, and they are providing solutions for, Concord. They are doing all sort of high-end technological products sitting down in Bangladesh. So today, I must say that we are on the right track, but this, this going forward needs more interaction with the right direction. Thank you.
Thank you. You have been into policy making as well with the government for a long time. So how is the government, what kind of actions the government is taking as far as incubating startups are concerned, or building something like a talent factory at Bangladesh? If you can kindly let us know.
Thank you. So, again, I must say that our government is pretty much pro-industry in terms of IT and ITES. So government has, invited us with open arms so that we can have dialogues with them. We can make them understand why they need IT, why they need, accurate policies so that they can be pretty much relevant on the, industry. So in terms of startup thing, so we have been working with government, but now we are at a stage that government has taken an initiative to do many things like incubation, these then for startups. But the recent challenge that we are facing with startups, that the definition of startups, that has created a big issue in our place. So maybe for that, we'll be seeking your support in some cases. Why I'm telling about this confusion? Because, different agencies are, defining this startup thing in different ways. So that is creating the confusion. For an example, banks, according to them, startup has a different definition. To government entities, to them, that has a different, description of startups. And to the startups themselves or to the industry, we have a different definition, which is quite, relevant to the international definition. So that is where I believe we can work hand in hand in terms of knowledge sharing, in terms of, knowing each other, so that we can make our startups more, viable to be staying afloat in the industry. Thank you, Dada.
Thank you so much, Bhai. See, BASIS has been a catalyst in building talent in Bangladesh always. How do you think BASIS can collaborate with the Bengal Chamber of Commerce to build a robust ecosystem and a resilient marketplace, and also exchange of skills, which is very, very important? So how do you like to collaborate with BCCI, if you kindly?
Yeah. Thank you. So, BASIS, as I have already mentioned, BASIS is pretty much active developing the ecosystem in terms, be it for local market, be it for international market. We have been around the world. We are into USA, in Europe market. But for India, from my personal experience, we can say that, there are plenty of gaps around, that we hardly know what you are doing in your many areas, and you also hardly know about our strengths or weakness in many areas. So we are, we are neighboring countries, but there are still plenty of gaps. So that is why we started talking with the Bengal Chamber. They visited us in February. So I can see there are a lot of potential and opportunities to work together, so that we can work hand in hand. We can, be benefited in either way. And we can, exchange our views. We can get your support where you are way superior than us, and vice versa. So I take this, initiative to work with the Bengal Chamber, in more pragmatic way. So I'd be looking forward to the authorities of Bengal Chamber so that we can define our areas of working and we can work hand in hand in future.
In fact, bhai, one personal observation which I had, my company has been working for quite some time at Bangladesh, is that there are a lot of advanced products which are there across segments, BFSI, enterprise, SMB, all across all segments. There are advanced products in IT infrastructure, IT networks, data centers, database, middleware, analytics, ERP, of course, you are an ERP expert yourself. Possibly, there is a lot of requirement for skills to implement them successfully and manage them successfully. Now, so that is one area where companies here, including MSMEs, can have some opportunities to work there. At the same time, you would also have some plan to build skills which can be utilized here. I mean that if some kind of a plan can be worked out, then I think from the chamber we can definitely facilitate that if we know clearly which are the skills that are available as of now.
Exactly.
Because I mean it will be the same here also. A lot of products, but a lot of implementation, deployment gaps may be there.
Right.
The other thing is, at what stage of cloud maturity is Bangladesh currently, and what would be BASIS's role as far as cloud implementation, cloud deployment at Bangladesh ICT?
Okay, thank you. So this is one area that is very close to my heart because I was quite vocal, I think, from the industry itself back in 2008, 2009 to, make people understand that cloud will be the future. So from BASIS, we have taken initiatives primarily to make people realize why cloud is necessary, be it at the client end, be it at the government end, or be it for the software companies as well. So BASIS is pretty much active for this, cloud thing. And today, I must say, we have, taken quite a steps forward, but still there are plenty to be done. And in this particular segment also, we can work together to, make it more viable for both of us. So cloud, as we all know, is the future, and we are now working towards the future. So from BASIS, we are always open for this particular segment, as you have mentioned, Dada, for, doing something for the cloud and everything. Because for me, one of the main challenges for making cloud thing viable for government sector and also for the private sector is the knowledge gap between the industry and these and the people. So we can have your ideas, or we can get your expertise to minimize the gap of this knowledge that the fear that the industry or the government has today regarding the cloud thing. So we definitely look up to you to have this expertise so that we can minimize the gap and we can embrace the cloud as it is supposed to be.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, bhai. Madam, thank you once again for joining us here. So many of us here are aware of the significant contributions which MSTC is making towards government as well as industry in terms of usage of natural resources, usage of technology. If you kindly elaborate on the transparency and the implementation methodologies of MSTC and how you have contributed for the benefit of all.
Thank you. First of all, I would like to thank the Bengal Chamber of Commerce for giving us this opportunity to speak on behalf of the company and talk about what we have done for the government and the industry in India. As you all know, the government of India has been pushing hard for digitizing almost all the transactions, especially from the government sector. And we have been really fortunate to be the preferred service partner for this. In the last decade or so, most of the natural resources of the country, they have gone through a digital process, the allocation or the auctioning part of it. We have provided the platform. So far, there have not been any finger pointing, so that talks very loudly about our credentials and the kind of transparency that we have brought into the system. The second main factor is the digital infrastructure that our country has as on today. The penetration has been very good. When we started off with e-auctions way back in 2002, the penetration of internet or the infrastructure was not so much. And in fact, you will be surprised to know that e-auctions were first introduced for selling scrap, where the uneducated and probably the lowest rate of society actually deal with such transactions. But then making it a success from that level, it has been a very complex journey for us. And of late, as you know, the latest the feather in our cap is the spectrum auctions, the way it has been carried out, and the 5G infrastructure that is being built on that edifice. That is something very commendable that we are doing. So today's session is more about business opportunities in Bangladesh. Now, having done some amount of work, we have the necessary exposure, experience in digitizing transactions, not just for the government, but also for the industry. So I see a huge potential in Bangladesh, and definitely we would like to be a part of that journey for Bangladesh. And we can be not just the implementing agency, we can be even a consultancy. We can give you the necessary inputs for that. And I'm sure this kind of interaction is probably the starting point for a good partnership with the government of Bangladesh. Apart from this, I would also like to say that for doing this, you need to have good infrastructure, skilled manpower. Towards that end also, if at all you need any help from our side, definitely we are there to give some inputs in that area. Secondly, we have done a lot of good work in Southeast Asia. See, today, as we all know, India has emerged as an IT superpower. So even if there are developed countries around us, like say Singapore, they are also using a lot of our digital platforms, like our own oil sector companies that are there in Singapore. They are using our platform to do their export, import, and that kind of processes. We are selling some forest produce, red sanders and all. The export is happening to China. Now the Chinese bidders are taking part in our auction. So any kind of trade, any kind of government scheme, digitizing that has been our forte. And that definitely gives us the confidence to do it for any government. So we look forward to this kind of an opportunity from government of Bangladesh, and this is probably just the starting point.
Thank you so much. That gives us a lot of confidence as well. So Sohel bhai, before concluding this session, do you think that we can initiate this kind of a discussion on behalf of MSTC with the Bangladesh government through basis? Then the Bengal Chamber can facilitate that next level of discussion.
Yes, we definitely do. I mean, just before this session, during lunch break, I was having discussion with her regarding this thing. So I believe with the help of Bengal Chamber and, three of these entities can work together, and we can have a serious, inroads with our governments, so that we can, show them your products, consultancy ideas and presentations, because it's a journey and the roadmap needs to be presented to our right authorities. So we from basis can take that initiative, and you are there, the Bengal Chamber, and you are there. So these three can work as a team, and definitely we can do a lot of things. But having said that, for doing that, we need to more about your products, your services. So as we were discussing, so post this, session or post this event, we will be keeping touch among ourselves. We'll be knowing each other more, and we'll be having a roadmap way forward.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you. We'd like to have the Bengal Chamber with us also.
Okay. Absolutely. Thank you so much, bhai, and thank you so much, madam. Since time is again very limited, we are about to conclude this session, but maybe two key takeaways we can move forward with. One is understanding the skill gaps at both ends and see how to meet the skill gaps from Bangladesh and from India. That is one part, on the ICT part. The second thing is a proper structured initiative along with MSTC to talk to
Take this
basis
forward.
and Bangladesh government to take this forward.
Yeah.
The chamber can certainly facilitate both
So-
initiatives.
Okay, so this is not the conclusion, this is probably just the beginning of
Yeah,
our
absolutely.
mutual relationship. So we look forward to this association.
So are
thanks
we.
for this
Yeah.
opportunity once again.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Sohel bhai.
Thank you,
so
same
much,
here.
madam.
Thank you for listening us. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Bhanu Kumar and Mr. Mostafizur Rahaman Sohel. I'm not separately mentioning to Dr. Chiranjeev Bhattacharya. So I would request Dr. Bhattacharya to please present tokens of our appreciation to Ms. Bhanu Kumar and Mr. Mostafizur Rahaman Sohel. Thank you, sir, and thank you, ma'am. So we are moving on to the next session, that is infrastructure facilitating technology growth in Kolkata. We will take a couple of minutes or a bit more to change over for the next session. And we can stop the live and we can start again.